All right. Well, speaking of bad teams, who, in your all's opinion, who had the worst draft?
This might be a second to think about.
Cowboys.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for enjoying episode 8. Today we are going to be filming episode 9. It's a very special episode. I'm going to be speaking very shortly. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Braden, and I'm going to let him talk.
Appreciate it, Tyler. Um, got that intro in after 4 takes. Y'all will see the bloopers later. Um, anyways, today we are discussing the NFL draft. We are a little behind on it. It happened a few weeks or like a week and a half ago, I think. But we're gonna try to get out now. In our next episode, we are planning on doing round 2 of the NBA playoffs. I have to sneeze. Okay, back to it.
Bless you.
Thank you. Sorry. Okay. We have two big things to discuss today. One, I don't know if y'all caught on. Me, Austin, and Tyler are all wearing the same colored shirt. Do you all want to go ahead and reveal what we are wearing?
You can go ahead. Finally got our own t-shirts. On the front, it's just our logo.
Yeah.
On
And
the
then on the
back,
back has all of our social media handles.
mine
At
says bringing the head.
yeah, at the current moment, we don't have any merch on sale. That probably won't
Can
be
you
for a
see it?
while. Um, yeah. So for the current moment, this is what we have.
Bringing the
Eventually
head.
down the road, we will be able to, whenever we get to that point, have enough viewers and that and such. We can eventually start shipping out our own merch. But for the current moment, this is all we have. This is what we're gonna wear. Maybe
This is
Tyler and
just an
all.
idea of what our first shirt would look like.
Yeah, and maybe we'll get sweatshirts down the road with the same logo, different colors, and we'll figure it out. Maybe we can get custom ones that have the logo and then all of our like each person's name on the back is like a name on the hoodie. But we're gonna figure it out. Second thing, this probably won't go into effect until probably mid to late summer. Um, Austin, Tyler, and I this weekend we decided that we wanted to have our own like sort of recording studio. We drew up a few ideas, but we concluded that the best place for us to do it is probably me and Austin's basement. We have some space down there. We have a couch, and we're gonna try to get backdrops. We're gonna try to have the whole corner cleared out. Tyler's got cameras for us to use. And we're gonna get some decent enough microphones for all three of us to use with stands, so you all will still be able to hear us with the best quality. It'll sort of be similar to our March Madness video where you had all of us using our own separate microphone. Even though I didn't have one, but it'll be something similar to that. So we still have to work on cleaning out the basement, giving us enough room for it. We got to move the couch across the basement, and we have to make sure we also have all the backdrops in on time. And eventually, we will still, after we have that backdrop and all that stuff, a majority of our videos are going to be in our studio. And we will occasionally, whenever we can't meet up together, if we have something that we have to do, homework, whatever it may be, for whatever or work, we are still going to record on Zoom. But that is the next announcement that we wanted to make. Those are two big ones. So we will, each episode will keep you all updated with that. But for now, that's our idea. We're gonna try to get it done over the summer, when everyone's free, and get that done to where we can all clean it out together, rent a dumpster, throw some stuff away, and get to that. So, without further ado, um, like Tyler was saying, this is episode 9. This episode is going to be over the review of the NFL draft. Just to start this off, I kind of this is just off the script. As a fan of your all's team, how do you all think that your team did in the draft? Because for me personally, I think that the Bears did really, really well. got our quarterback. We have another receiver. A very questionable punter pick early, but I still like the punter. I still like that pick, but it's kind of weird to take a punter that soon. We got some few other key pieces to get trained and then hopefully be a key point in our franchise. So, Tyler, how do you feel about the Steelers draft?
Um, First thing is we 100% needed an O line, and that's what we went and got with our 20th pick. We got Troy, I don't know, fancy Neu or something, whatever, from Washington. I believe he is, I mean, the real deal. I mean, from what I saw, what he did at
Besides
Washington, I believe
besides
he
Joe
can
Alt,
do.
that's the second best tackle in my opinion in the draft.
Yeah, I knew Joe Alt was going to be, he was going to be higher than Troy,
Yeah.
and we probably weren't going to eventually get him because there were other teams that also needed a line, so they were going to pick before us. But we also went out and we got another center, Zach Frazier from West Virginia, and then we got a wide receiver, which is much needed, as you all know, because we let Deontay Johnson go to the Panthers, and we went and got Roman Wilson from Michigan. Those are just the noticeable three, or the first three picks from the Steelers, and I don't want to go any more depth, but I feel like we didn't do. I feel like we did pretty great. I wouldn't say we did outstanding. We went and got what we wanted. We did, even though we didn't get the best player at each position. You're not always going to get that, but these players can always still be uh, great players at in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Also, what about the Panthers?
I don't even know where to start. My team drafted so horribly, it wasn't even funny. It was like, ew, it was like watching the season all over again. Though I will say, we our first round pick was god awful. I don't know why we traded up one spot. It was completely worthless because this guy would have been on the board at that pick anyway. And instead of drafting Keon Coleman, who I thought was, in my opinion, a better receiver, we drafted some dude named Xavier Leggett. So from South Carolina. I mean, I guarantee, I sure he's probably good. I haven't watched him. I haven't watched really much of South Carolina, but I just don't get it. I mean, we got Jonathan Brooks. He's okay, but I don't understand why we drafted another running back when we already have Miles Sanders. It's like at that point, just let him go. I would rather just have a younger running back who is less costly on the team's budget than have a 30-plus-year-old man who basically cannot support his knees anymore. We got some kind of, I think we got some linebacker from Kentucky. I mean, I was looking at his stats the other day. I mean, he's pretty good. We got a tight end from
Oh my God,
Texas.
who was it? It's gonna kill me. Something, is it
Um,
Phillips?
Wallace, last name Wallace.
Oh my
Trevon
God.
Wallace, inside linebacker.
I think, yeah, okay, that's on. Yeah, that's on.
Anyways, we drafted him. Who else did we get? We got a couple of defensive players because that's what we needed. And we got a defensive tackle out of, I want to say I thought we got the linebacker from Michigan. But it was traded from Pittsburgh to the Panthers. I think it was Michael.
It was the pick in the with the Deontay Johnson deal. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
and he was taken in the seventh round, I think. Yeah. But anyways, so we got some good pieces, but I don't know. I think they drafted horribly. Go figure. Team's ass. Straight up. I don't know how else to say it. It sucks being a fan of that team. But that's my opinion, what I thought my team did, how my team did
I
terribly.
mean, I think
give them a
that
D.
if I were to grade them, I would say the Bears and the Steelers probably both got like an A or an A minus. And then I'd probably give the Panthers like a C.
Don't give
Uh,
him. Don't give him any. Don't give him. No. Don't give him that C.
but
That they don't.
anyway, going back to the Bears, I will let you all talk about this first so we can not keep this biased, and then I'll say my 2 cents. What are your all's thoughts on Caleb Williams going to the Bears? Do you think that was the decision for them to make? Like, do you think that was the correct decision, or do you think that they should have kept Fields and traded down, traded up, whatever with any other picks and gotten, maybe Marvin Harrison and Rome Odunze?
I'm gonna.
Well, You want to go ahead or you want me to go?
Yeah, I'll go first. I'll say this about Caleb Williams because obviously you saw with the Bears. The Bears made a decision about the Justin Fields, decided to move on from him, decided that it was time, and went full in on going for a rookie QB. Everyone knew it was going to be Caleb Williams. There was not a shadow of doubt. In fact, I saw a report that said that the coach had to wait 5 minutes. The NFL commissioner made him wait 5 minutes because he already knew what his pick was going to be, and he had to make him wait. But I think that he's put in a position. Most QBs coming in at pick number one are put in terrible situations. I mean, that's usually how it is. The number one pick
It was
usually
Jeff Poles'. It's Jeff
the
Poles.
number one pick goes to the worst team. It just does. But their GM did a phenomenal job of putting pieces around who they were going to draft because I knew, and I tried to tell Braiden this before, I knew that they were going to let Fields go. And I said this weeks ago, months ago. I knew they were going to let him go and they were going to draft Caleb Williams. I don't think they should. I think they will take Caleb Williams. And I think that they'll do that because it's a business, like you said.
I'm reading casual on your forehead.
Me too, bro. But anyways, all right, continue what you were saying, and we can get to that in a second.
I think I'll talk more about this Bears situation when we get to that segment, but I think that they're going to take Caleb Williams, because they had seen what Justin Fields had done, and no matter what, even if he had a crappy team around him, he couldn't even put up good stats alone by himself. And I knew they were going to move on from him. So this is a fresh start for the Bears, and they're coming in with a rookie QB. If he does not succeed this year, that's on him, not the team, because he's put in a position to succeed. And if he can't get it done with the team that's put around him, that is on him, and they're going to realize that they made a mistake. And I also said this too. I also said I thought they made a mistake by trading Fields because I thought that Fields was a better QB than Caleb Williams, and I stand by that, Brain. I will agree with you. I think they should have kept on to him. They didn't. It's a business. It is what it is. But that's just my initial thoughts of Caleb Williams, and I think that if he doesn't do well this year, there's going to be some controversy about whether they should have traded Fields instead of keeping Caleb Williams because they have the receiving core. They have a really good receiving core. And they got DeAndre Swift, who's a really good running back, and they have an improved defense. They have an improved offense. There's no reason why he shouldn't succeed this year. And if he doesn't, on him, that means that he's probably not going to be what they anticipated he would turn into.
Yeah. Tyler, what you
Yeah,
got?
it's just gonna. I mean, it's gonna come down to the season. I mean, if he can't produce, it's like Austin said, it's on him. And I mean, we're not going to know whether what decision was right or wrong until I would say give him 3, maybe 3 or 4 weeks into the season, and he can find his groove because he's not gonna throw for 400 yards first game. I mean, unless he's got
CJ Stroud was really good last year, but CJ Stroud's totally better than he was on my honestly opinion best rookie quarterback I've seen since Justin Herbert, and he clicked as soon as he got in.
But the decision of between Fields and Caleb Williams is just going to come down to finding out on the field, and I mean that's just going to be how it is.
I mean, personally, as a Bears fan, when I heard that Justin Fields got traded to Pittsburgh, I was heartbroken. It really did hurt me just because I knew that with the system that they were about to build, I knew that this was a system that he could, do really, really well in. And this was honestly, in my opinion, this should have been his team. I think that they were trying to build around him, and I think that they were trying to build around him and then realized, hey, Caleb Williams might play out better in the long run, so they went that. And honestly, and personally, I hope that Justin Fields learns behind Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh and gets the experience he needs. And then when Russell retires, and if Justin's still on the team, then Justin goes and absolutely balls out.
Speaking on that, they did decline his 5th-year option. So
that being said, though, I've seen a lot of contracts get denied because they are working on contract extensions and they realize that the contract they're on is not worth their value. So they negotiate and they say, hey, I want you to decline my option because I want to get a better contract. So that means one of two things. He's either going to get released after this year if they don't use him at all or they don't need him, or he's going to get a better contract. Because I don't think they should get rid of him. The Steelers need to keep him. And I know as a Steelers fan, you probably agree. because he's not bad. He's not bad. He
Like I
weren't
said,
cut-
I think that if he can just sit behind Russell Wilson and ball out, nothing would make me happier than to see him. Because I mean, he was even practicing the other day. He posted on his Instagram when he was practicing with some of the Pittsburgh Steelers players. He had a shirt on that said Fields across it, and it was him in a Bears uniform. And honestly, that really touched me just because even though that team gave up on him, he still loves the city, loves the fans, and that's what I really liked about him is I knew he genuinely wanted to be there, and I know he genuinely wanted to win, but he just couldn't make it happen with the pieces he had around him. And that's okay because that happens to a lot of people, and that's what the NFL and NBA is. It's a business, and if you can't do what they need you to do, then you're gone, and that's how it is. Whether it's your fault or not, you're the quarterback's typically the first one to go because it's, in my opinion, in football, one of probably the most important positions on the field on both sides.
the scapegoat. The QB and
Yeah.
the coach are always the
And
scapegoat.
and so with them taking Caleb Williams, at first whenever I saw him get traded, Justin Fields get traded, I was really, really skeptic of how this was gonna go. I was worried about Caleb Williams. I didn't know how he was gonna do. I didn't know how I was gonna feel about it. But then as the draft got closer, I feel like I'm more confident in the pick than I was before. And after he went out on the stage and screamed and looked super excited, I couldn't be any happier with that pick. Yeah, the Bears. I'm really, really excited with him. He seems pumped up. He seems like he's got a lot of energy. I know this guy wants to win. I know he's wanted to be a number one overall pick his entire life, and it's happened. And I'm super excited to see what he gets done. Um, if like Austin said, if the team doesn't get above, I'd say honestly this is a high for a rookie
They
year.
don't make the playoffs.
If they don't make it, which this is probably playoff caliber wins. I know this is shooting for the stars, but if they don't make more than 10 wins, then they messed
I
up.
feel like 10 wins is a
They
good
won't-
first season.
They won't win their division. Let's be real.
I don't think they'll win
yeah, no.
the division. I think the Lions will win the division easily.
Lions or Packers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Realistically, I think it's the Lions, but I think the Packers could.
So honestly, if they had 10 wins and didn't make the playoffs, I'd still be happy. I'd be questioned, but I would still be happy just because
I'd be happy the Texans had 10 wins this year after going.
Yeah.
number
So
two
so
pick
I'd
last
be
year.
honestly I'd be ecstatic to know that they have enough firepower because I mean the team's stacked. I'm not going to go into depth on it, but the team's stacked. They have everything they need to one make the playoffs and two make a deep run in the playoffs. I don't think they'll win the Super Bowl. As a delusional Bears fan, I would love for them to win the Super Bowl, but I know they're not just because of how young most of their players are, and the experience that they lack. The only person on that team that has a ring is DeAndre Swift, and he didn't even get it with the Bears. So, or no, he was after because it was Miles Sanders that got the ring. And then he got it, and then he went over. Anyway, but yeah, overall, I'm excited about it. I'm happy. I think he's got a lot of energy. I think he's gonna bring that Chicago energy. I saw he popped out at the Cubs game earlier today. So I'm really, really excited that he's already loving the city. I know the people love him. I love him. I think he's a great kid. I can't see what happens next, or I can't wait to see what happens next.
Yeah, it's gonna be a sight to see.
Yeah. What are your all's thoughts on the Falcons taking Michael Penix? It was eighth overall. I think it was eighth overall.
Horrible.
Yeah, Austin, I know you have a lot to say about this, so I'm just gonna keep it short and quick.
Okay.
I think it was a good and a bad move because on the good side, it's you have a young quarterback,
Yeah,
for your future. You have somebody who can back up Kirk, who can learn from Kirk, and he can be possibly that guy for you.
Kirk is one of those quarterbacks that I would want to learn behind. He's got experience. He hasn't made any deep runs in the playoffs, but he's got that experience to teach you to make that run.
Yeah, and the other good is if Kirk doesn't if he's not the same, if he's not the Kirk that we always know that can throw for
He is coming off a torn Achilles.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not everyone's the same after a torn Achilles unless you're Kevin Durant.
Basketball and football.
Anyways,
But
yeah.
basketball is different. Let's be real. Basketball is different than football. It's
All right.
much
Anyway,
easier.
Tyler, continue.
But it's good for backup, good in case if Cousins isn't the same. Bad, it's a top 10 pick. Obviously want to get your best value pick for a position that you need. quarterback obviously isn't what they needed. They probably could have gotten a backup. They probably could have got Joshua Dobbs again. I mean, to back up Kirk Cousins and replace him like they did, like Minnesota did. But I feel like it was more of a dumb pick than it was a good pick.
It was a wasted pick
because they definitely could have gotten another wide receiver to pair with Drake London and Kyle Pitts. But yeah, that's just what I got to say. Austin, I know you have a lot to say, so much.
I'll go before you do, just because I know you're probably gonna rant for a while. So I'm like I said, I'm gonna make this short and sweet, like Tyler did. I think it's a good pick, like Tyler said, just because he's gonna have that experience to learn behind him, and if Kirk doesn't perform to the level we know he can, then they're gonna put Michael out there to see if he can do it. But on the contrary, I feel like, in my opinion, I feel like they could have waited until second round to take him or take a different quarterback. Because they could have taken. There was a lot of quarterbacks that were still left, not the caliber of Michael Penix, but you could have gotten a quarterback that's young enough to still learn behind him. So, like Tyler said, I feel like I'm happy. Honestly, I'm happy that they took him, just so the Bears could have gotten Rome Odunze. But if they didn't take Michael Penix, they should have taken Rome Odunze to pair with Drake London, Kyle Pitts, Tyler Algier, Bijan Robinson, all their offensive weapons. So I think it's a smart pick for them to develop a quarterback and have a long-term quarterback that can be that guy in the future for Atlanta, so they don't even have to worry about picking a quarterback in the near future. But at the exact same time, I don't think a quarterback is what they needed as a top point for that team, because they already had Kirk. So I think it's a good pick, but a bad pick. But overall, I think it's a bad pick.
Braiden, to answer your point, I want to hit something before I get into this. You sat there and said they could have taken him later. No, because I saw that the Raiders got screwed, and they were pissed because I know they have Gardner Minshew and he's pretty good, but they were banking on Michael Penix still being on the board because no one saw them picking.
I didn't think they were going to take him.
No one did. No,
I remember Tyler and I were watching the draft together on FaceTime, and when they called his name, I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, and so I thought, based on the draft boards, the predictions, stuff like that, the Raiders were in need of a QB because they let Jimmy G go this year. They needed a QB. They needed a rookie QB, and I thought Penix was going to go to
Josh? Random question: where did Josh Dobbs go? I know he got signed somewhere else, didn't he?
I don't know.
I think he's a free
still on the
agent now.
Vikings.
No,
I think the Vikings released him. I think that was like one of the first free agents.
Hang on.
He might actually be on the Falcons. No, he might be on the Falcons.
Y'all keep talking. I'll look it up.
Anyways, so they feel bad for the Raiders fans. They got hosed because they were going to pick Michael Penix, and I thought, like Tyler, I get your point of like it wasn't as bad of a pick as a lot of people are making it out to be, because on one point I do understand taking a QB.
He signed with the 49ers.
Oh yeah, sorry. I do understand why they decided to take a chance on it. One, because once Kirk's contract is up, he's probably gone. He's probably going to retire. By that time, he'll be 39, close to 40. Most people don't make it past that age. And even then, will he still be the same caliber player when 4 years from now? He might not even play the 4 years on his contract. You know what I mean? So and I get that assurance. He's coming off an Achilles injury. But and even himself and his agent were questionable as to why they picked a QB. But you want to have a QB that is training under a veteran QB and someone who will slide right into your system like that when they need to, especially if Kirk Cousins gets hurt, because he's old. He's more susceptible to injury. We saw that happen last year. So they took I just think that they could have waited a couple years to get a QB, because there are other good QBs that will be coming up in the future that they could have taken from, and they could have gotten. They're trying to win now. I mean, they're not that good, but they're trying to. They need to win their division first. But they in a division that they're in, it's wide open. The Saints are not good. They're mid. Really,
Buccaneers are decent.
The Buccaneers are decent, but
the Buccaneers are going to make the playoffs.
When Tom Brady left, I think the Bucs will win that division. Don't get me wrong, but I think the Falcons can win it too. It's wide open versus every other division. There's pretty much a clear-cut winner.
Personally, for the NFC South, I honestly, if someone were to ask me to put $100 on who was going to win, I don't think I could pick. And that's even going to say for the Panthers. I think the Panthers even can put a run in their book to win that division. You have
really.
Bryce Young coming to his second year. You have a bunch of people they got off season. You have
Wait,
you have
am
a
I
deep
just not getting that? Saying that you think the Panthers could be the winner of that division?
Possible. What I'm saying is I couldn't. I said if someone told or asked me, I said if someone asked me to put $100 on who was going to win that division this year, I don't know who I would pick.
Are you serious?
I said if someone gave me $100, I don't know who I'd pick.
Are you serious?
Brain, I'm a fan of the team, and I so disagree with you. There's a point between delusion and being real.
I would put
I'm on that.
$50 on the Falcons and $50 on the Bucks.
Anyways, I just think that they could have waited. They wasted a pick, and they could have spent it on.
Why are you over here rubbing your eyes when you know the Panthers aren't dog shit?
Because I have
And you
fucking
think
allergies, you dumbass.
They could have used their pick to get a better player on defense, or like Tyler said, an extra piece to their wide receiving core, because now they have a new coach and it's no longer Arthur Smith running run
On a
play.
quick side note, did you know that Arthur Smith's dad owns FedEx?
No. Why I'm cutting that out.
Just a cool.
that's going in bloopers.
That's just a cool fact.
Okay, whatever. Damn it! Now I lost my train of thought. What was I?
Good.
Arthur Smith's not the coach anymore, so they're going to use Kyle Pitts a lot more. I thought he was misused a lot, like a lot.
Yeah, I agree with you. Because
And-
I know this doesn't really relate to fantasy, but I kind of saw him dropping down in fantasy, which also kind of means that he's not.
He's openly complained about like him not getting any. He even made.
And he deserves to. He's probably one of the best tight ends to come out.
He's the highest
of
drafted
college.
tight end in NFL history. Yeah, deserved. Did you see him at Florida? He was insane. I've watched his college highlights before. He is nuts. He was nuts in college. So coming into, I just think
Flashback to when he mossed on somebody.
huh?
Flashback to when he mossed on somebody.
But he's been in a terrible system because the Falcons they have not been the same since 28-3. They just haven't. They've been so shell shocked they have no idea what to do.
28-3.
I said 28-3.
I know. I'm saying it too.
They have not made any good decisions since 28-3. And this is another one of them. I just think they could have used that pick. Or if you're gonna pick a QB, trade that pick and at least get another one for it. You could get two for the price of one. Like, I just don't get it. I think
they should have probably possibly traded out of the top 10.
They honestly could have done what the Panthers or the Bills did and traded down one pick, because the Bears were still going to take Odunze if he was still on the board. I know that for a fact they would have, given the fact that they picked him.
I saw today when what's his face? Pat McAfee was talking to Ryan Poles, and he asked him about when they saw that he was still left on the board, did they even think twice about it? And Ryan Poles said before the draft they had a list of all the guys and they colored them coordinated based off of their want of how much they wanted them if they were still left. And he said Rome was one of the ones that was at the top of the board, that if he was left, then they were not going to hesitate to take him.
I mean, I totally agree with you, because in our first NFL video, I said it definitively. I will eat my words if it does not happen. I think that Odunze is better than Marvin Harrison Jr.
Roll it back.
And I think we will find that out this year. I don't think I'm wrong. However, I will sit here and eat my own words if I am wrong and Marvin Harrison has a way better season. I just don't think he will. Mainly because the Cardinals are so bad.
Tyler, can you stop clicking your pen?
Are going to have a much better season this year than the Cardinals will. And I just think Kyler Murray is so short he can't even see over his own O-line. I just don't think he's going to have that great of a season that Odunze is going to have. And that's just how it is. But I just think they could have traded down for a pick and got an extra pick.
It definitely wasn't the spot to take Michael Penix Jr. He could have gone later, 100%. And I just overall, I would give that pick a C, maybe a C plus, just because it's Michael Penix and we know he's a good quarterback. But I generally think
He's
that
not a bad
was-
QB. I'm not sitting here and shitting
Yeah.
on him as a player. I'm crapping on the organization as a whole because they don't know how to draft at all.
All right. So tagging along with the past two questions that we just did about quarterbacks, in the first round of this year's draft, there was 6 quarterbacks taken. You had Caleb Williams, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix. Who else am I missing? Michael Penix, and I'm already missing one. JJ McCarthy. So those were the 6 that there were.
It was
Um,
Caleb Williams, Jane Daniels, Drake May, Michael Penix,
JJ
JJ McCarthy, Bo Nix, and that was it. So 6, yeah.
So yeah, and so there were 6 taken. Do you all think that's too much, or do you think that those all fit? Besides obviously the Penix one, since we talked about that, do you think those all were worth it?
The McCarthy
Yes.
one,
No, I don't.
Okay,
I don't like the
fair.
McCarthy one.
all of them, all the teams that draft QBs are teams that need QBs. Broncos, the Vikings, the Bears, the
Commanders, Patriots.
Panthers, Patriots, all these teams that needed QB spots, other than the Falcons, needed franchise QBs, and the QB position is the most important. So that's the one that you have to hit the nail on the head with, because if you don't, then you move on to a QB every 3 to 4 years, and your franchise is going to be poverty for the remainder of just existence. And so the only one that I disagree with, other than the Penix one, is I just don't think everyone overhypes McCarthy as such a good QB.
He's not a
I
throwing
don't
QB.
see it. I just don't see it because and that I saw a lot of jokes about how like Justin Jefferson's never going to get the ball because all he's going to do is just hand the ball off to Aaron Jones. And he's just going to run through everyone because he and like everyone said, oh, he only lost 2 games in his collegiate career. He played for Michigan though.
Yeah.
Like they won a national title last year and they went undefeated. But
yeah, I mean, I
the
definitely.
only
I mean,
loss they have is Ohio State.
I agree with you. I agree with you on that, Austin. As far as I think all the quarterbacks that were taken were good
He's
picks
the
for those
worst.
franchises, except for Michael Penix and JJ McCarthy. I think JJ McCarthy was one. I think he was taken too high for the skill level of quarterback he was. The only reason he was so good is because he fit the system perfectly for Michigan, and their team was like loaded as hell.
They were heavy on run.
So it made
on
him
offense,
look
yeah.
good.
Which is I'm shocked Blake Corum didn't go any sooner than he did.
Yeah, so I
Very
mean they got all the teams that drafted a quarterback needed a quarterback. Whether or not that was the right pick to take at that specific time, because I remember Tyler was talking about in the Michael Penix one, they could have traded back a few picks because I think the Vikings actually traded up a few picks to take JJ McCarthy, even though in my personal opinion I'd rather have Bo Nix than JJ McCarthy just because of the skill level that he's proven himself to be.
And to be fair, I thought that Jordan Travis would have gotten drafted in the first round. He probably would have if he didn't hurt his knee,
Leg. He broke his leg.
or his leg, whatever it was. Because he was one of the best QBs in the draft class. He just didn't get picked up very much, or attention wise, because he was hurt and he couldn't really do anything.
Y'all keep talking. I'm gonna go fill up my water bottle.
In the terms of like the QBs, because I think the QB class this year was weak, to be honest. Because
I think it was mediocre,
mediocre at best. Mediocre at best. Because
mediocrely deep.
because like last year's draft class, Bryce Young excluded. As far as QBs go, there was CJ Stroud, phenomenal, one offensive rookie of the year.
Anthony Richards for the time that we had him.
Anthony Richardson, who's really good, just got hurt very early in the season, couldn't really show most of his potential. He was really good. Will Levis, as much as I hate to say it, did show some promise as far as how much he could be, how much of a good QB he could be at some point, maybe in his career. Who else? Which other QBs got drafted in the first round last year?
I don't think any of them are playing. So I don't think. I mean, I can find out real quick.
Versus like the QB classes in the past have been so much better, and this year just felt weak. Like I'm not high on Drake May whatsoever.
The only
And I mean,
two good ones were probably Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels.
but even then, like I just like both those players won Heisman. Don't get me wrong, but I'm interested to see if both of their games translate to pros because I've seen a couple QBs where they've had phenomenal college careers and just shit the bed when they get to the pros. And the one that I'm mentioning more in particular, who won a Heisman, was Marcus Mariota. And when he got to the league, his game just did not translate whatsoever from the jump from college to the pros. And I'm not high on all three of them, to be honest. I really don't. In my opinion, I thought Penix was the best QB out of all four of them, taken in the top 10. JJ McCarthy was taken at 10, but you get the point that I'm trying to make. I just didn't see the strengths of all the QBs versus like the number one pick in 2020 or 2019 was Joe Burrow. The number one pick in 2020 was Trevor Lawrence. The number one pick in 2021 was why is it slipping?
Wasn't it that dude from Alabama?
Mac Jones? No, he wasn't taken
No.
number one.
You said 2020?
No, 2021. I don't think he was a QB. I don't
No,
think
it was
2020
that was Zach Wilson's year.
22. Oh yeah, it was. Oh, that might have been Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
2020, I think it was Aiden Hutchinson. And then 2022 was Travon Walker, who
Yeah.
got picked to the Jet. Yeah, but anyways, those two QBs that were taken number one overall in the past were phenomenal QBs who turned out to be, but they had amazing college careers, and everyone made them like they were consensus number one picks. They both won Heisman's, or Trevor Lawrence didn't, but you get the point. He could have. And this year I don't. I might get proved wrong, and if I do, that so be it. But I just don't think that the QB class this year was that strong, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think like I said just a moment ago that it was mediocrely deep. I mean, just for 6 quarterbacks to go in the top 15, you rarely see that every year. So just the fact that, well, I mean, it also plays a factor that most teams in the top 15 needed a quarterback. So I mean, it's kind of both ways.
Yeah, but be real. How many of those QBs are going to stick around in 3 to 4 years? You know,
I think it. I mean, there's probably going to be 2 or 3. I mean, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, and JJ McCarthy are probably going to be the 3. Actually, probably Bo Nix. I think
because the Patriots moved on from Mac
Well,
Jones.
What do you all think of the Chargers taking what's it called?
Joel.
Joe Alt, yeah, top 5. Because I think that there was a stat that said he was the first offensive tackle taken in the top 5 since 2015.
I think it's kind of funny.
I think personally, from what I've seen of him, this guy's a generational talent of a tackle. I think that this guy is someone that will eventually one day, possibly not with the Chargers, but I think that he will some way find himself in the Hall of Fame. This guy is big, he's quick, he's fast, he's got the intelligence of a good tackle. I think that he's definitely got the strengths to prove that he can do it.
100%. He's 6'9", 321.
Yeah, so I mean
that's
he's
a
the
big boy.
definition of what you want for a tackle. I mean I saw videos of the games where he's playing for his senior day or whatever, the Senior Bowl, whatever it's called. I mean he's laying these guys out like it's nothing, and
Hey,
people are
you know
trying
what game he didn't show up for though?
the Louisville game. But anyway, there was times where he was speed or people were trying to speed rush, get around him. This guy's for how big and tall he is, he's quick on his feet. So I think that this for the Chargers especially, I think that this is a massive pickup, especially with how bad their offensive line was last year. I think that this guy is going to be phenomenal for him. The one thing that I'm questionable about with the Chargers is their wide receiver group because you have what's his face?
Mike Williams.
Mike Williams went to
Oh,
the
he got
Jets.
released. He got released.
Yeah, and then he went to the
He did?
Jets.
Quentin
So
Johnson,
it's just Quentin
Joshua
Johnston.
Palmer,
Yeah, those are the two.
some other rando that I have no idea who it is.
Yeah,
It's like
and,
the
and Keenan Allen's on the Bears. So I mean, they lost all of that.
bunch of
Their
nobodies.
defense is above
Bro, what are
like,
you doing?
huh?
Tyler's playing with his mic. Can you not hear like the muffler?
All right. Anyway, so I think that this guy will eventually make his way into the Hall of Fame. I'm questionable as far as this year. I think he'll prove to be good, but I don't think it's gonna do enough to make them a good team just because they don't have a lot of good receivers. Tyler, what you got?
No, like I said, he's 6'9", 321. That's in my eyes a perfect. I mean, any spot on the line. Yeah, I'm looking right here, and it says he's an excellent fit for zone heavy seams, and that he's a good rush blocker. So I think that moving forward on who's the Chargers running back? I know they went and got somebody because they lost.
Oh,
Sackler.
shit.
I don't even know who it is. I don't know anything about the Chargers because they're a bunch of bums now. I mean, straight up. They made one good decision this offseason. That was hiring John Harbaugh and then haven't done
Oh,
good
it's Gus Edwards.
Gus
And
Edwards.
Gus Edwards and Justice Hill, both of them went there.
Yeah. So the thing with that is they're gonna appreciate having a guy like him on the line, and I know he's gonna make an impact.
Oh no, it wasn't Justice Hill. It was J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards.
Yeah, both the Ravens running backs. Because I think they both played at Michigan with him.
Yeah. So, sorry, Tyler, go ahead.
Wait. Yeah, it's gonna. I know most people when they watch
Hang on,
NFL
Tyler.
games.
Austin, are you stupid? J.K. Dobbins went to Ohio State.
Gus Edwards went to Michigan, though.
Yeah, but you said that he went to Michigan.
Oh, I didn't mean to say both of them. I was talking about shit. My bad.
Anyways,
Hurtful.
You're a idiot. Sorry, Tyler. Go ahead.
you both are idiots.
Go ahead. I was just realizing that Austin was a retard.
But anyways, not a lot of people pay attention to the O line during games. They just once the ball snapped, they watch quarterbacks, and then they see once the ball is thrown, they see whoever it goes to. So yeah, I know this guy is going to shit my Siri. But anyways, I know he's going to make an impact. I mean, I feel like the Chargers wouldn't have drafted him at 5 if they knew he. You're trying to find your.
No, I'm looking at. I was picking my nails and.
Well, stop picking your fingers. Tyler, go ahead.
I'm just going to say he's going to make an impact, even though we're not going to be watching for him. He's going to make an impact because the Chargers would have not taken him at 5 if they didn't know he was
I
going to be
can't
good.
hear, Brain. I cannot hear you.
All right. Austin, do you have anything you want to add about Joe Alt?
He's a good player. I just think that, like, he deserves to go
We
that
love your
high.
input.
but-
He's a good player. We love that. We love that. I did ask that thought that was all you were gonna say because you're like he's a good player.
That's why I started laughing.
And then
I thought
you
you were just gonna be like,
paused.
he's gonna be a good player, a big guy, and that was
No
it.
shit, he's taking the top 5. Of course, he's gonna be a good player. Thanks, Brian. I hate you. I think that they should have prioritized getting a wide receiver, and Marvin Harrison wasn't still on the board, but Rome Odunze was still on the board.
It's
Keon
not
Coleman.
Rome. It's Rome.
Sorry, whatever. Rome. I don't give a shit. I honestly don't. I think they should have prioritized getting a wide receiver. Probably could have traded up the pick. I don't think the Cardinals would have budged on that one, or not the Cardinals. Yeah, the Cardinals. I thought, but you never know on a decision like that. They need wide receivers badly because Quentin Johnston was supposed to be their home run pick last year, and yeah, that didn't really pan out the way that they thought it would. And what is Tyler laughing at so much that he has
He's
to have
got
his head?
lice.
What?
All right. Well, moving on to the next question.
Alan, you're a joke.
I can't take Braden serious with this. All right. Anyways, let's move on.
All right. Anyway, this one I remember as soon as I saw it, the second it happened, I immediately texted Tyler because I knew him and I were looking for this pick to happen. I feel like every question we have one moment where someone does some stupid ass shit. to
You
where
know
we
what I
have
was
to
doing?
stop.
You know what I was doing? I was doing the Tyler's thing where he goes,
Fucking.
As soon as this pick happened, I texted Tyler because I knew we were both looking for this one. He did fall out of the first round, happened second round. Was Keon Coleman. I know personally, Austin, you and I did go to the ACC championship game. Saw him. He balled out. He's a hell of a
he
receiver.
didn't. To be fair, the only reason he didn't was because their QB didn't throw basically the whole
When he
entire-
was passed to, he did what he needed to do.
once. He got
Anyway,
targeted once.
He's a tall receiver. He's a built receiver. He kind of, in my opinion, reminds me of a DK Metcalf. I think that he can get to that point somewhere in his career. He's built like a DK Metcalf. He's not
Tyler,
at that.
where are you at, bro? Come on, bro. What are you doing?
I'm here.
Can you stop fiddling with it and just put it down? It's making noise when you mess with it.
Special.
Okay. Anyway, he's got the DK Metcalf build, but that's a big shoe to fill if he wants to get to that caliber. I think he can. But I like the pick for the Bills, especially losing Diggs, and because I think all they have now is Keon Coleman, Gabe Davis, right? Are those like the two big
No,
receivers?
No,
Gabe
Gabe
Davis.
Davis is not on the team.
Oh, he's on the
They have
Jaguars.
Claypool now, as of yesterday.
Yeah, he's like worth a bag of chips. So,
Who's in the NFL and who's still worth a bag of chips?
yeah, he's being tossed around like a girl with like a cross team.
Nice joke.
Anyway, I do like that pickup, especially matching both Keon Coleman and especially matching up Keon Coleman and Josh Allen together. That's in my opinion, I think that's a really good duo. I think that's gonna be the Bills' big two for the next few years until they can add another star wide receiver like a Stephon Diggs. So I really like that pick. What do you all think about him? What do you think about him dropping? And do you think that's a good pick for him?
I mean, I said it myself. He was going to be the steal of the draft. I think I said no matter where he went, and I don't think anybody
Stand by that?
expected him.
Stand by that?
Do what?
You stand by that?
Well, I mean, we'll get to that later about our steals of the draft. But right
I'm
now,
I'm not asking what you think I'm asking, do you still stand by that point?
what if him being the steal
Yes.
after the draft? No. Before the draft, yes. He is a good wide receiver. I don't think anybody expected him to go out of the first round. I mean, granted, it was the last pick of or the first pick of the second round. Sorry, but I think he'll be a great fit for Josh Allen because Josh Allen obviously needs his wide receivers. So I mean, we'll just see.
Also, what you got?
We'll see what he can do.
I mentioned this about when we were talking about how we thought our teams drafted. I thought the Panthers should have drafted him. Pick up than that dude from South Carolina. What do I know? He's a phenomenal wide receiver. Thought he should have gone first round. Very shocked he slept that far. I mean, like I said, he was one pick away from going in the first round, and if the Bills I think the Bills still would have picked him. Whether it was the 32nd pick or the 33rd pick, I really don't think it would have made a difference. The only thing it really made a difference from was whether he went in the first round or the second round. So in my opinion, he still went in the first round, even though it doesn't say it on paper that he went in the first round. It doesn't really matter. But I think that the Bills have a really good solid receiver in him. It'll take a couple of years for him to develop. Josh Allen's a top 3 QB in the league right now. So having a QB like that, like with an arm like that, is insanely beneficial for a guy like him, given that most wide receivers that come into the league get placed in situations with crappy quarterbacks or crappy quarterback play. And one, they won't get much targets depending on the defense that's playing them up if they're the best wide receiver on the team, which he is as of right now, in my opinion, versus like how good the QB can actually throw, Like, so Stephon Diggs couldn't get it done mainly because he got locked up a lot, but he also just threw tantrums every time he didn't get the ball. And when he did get the ball, he just didn't perform. I think that this will be a better start for better role for Josh Allen and a better role for Keon Coleman. I think that as much as I wish that the Panthers had drafted him, I think he's in a better situation with Buffalo, assuming they can get past Kansas City at some point, which they just can't. But I think that him going to the Bills, it's a solid pickup. I think the Bills would, whether it was 32nd or 33rd, they would still would have picked him because Panthers are poverty, and every day that I'm a fan of this team makes me want to cry. But that's just my thoughts.
All right. Well, speaking of bad teams, who, in your all's opinion, who had the worst draft?
This might be a second to think about.
Cowboys.
I will say that, yeah,
I
because
don't even.
You're right. You're
I
right.
don't even know who they drafted.
I don't either. I
You're
really
right.
don't either.
You're
I
right.
don't even-
100% you are right. And I don't doubt it that there's another team that I would say, even though the Falcons drafted Michael Penix at 8, I don't doubt that there's a fact that the Cowboys was the worst team.
Cowboys stay
drafted
taking
based on
L's
this.
in the offseason and during the season. Hold on, I'm looking up there because I genuinely don't remember any of their picks. That's how pathetic it probably was. I know they probably did have some. Obviously they did, but they got some offensive tackle from Oklahoma. They got Marshawn Keeneland, defensive end from Western Michigan. They got a cornerback from Kansas State. Cornerback, not quarterback. Linebacker from Notre Dame. Cornerback from Wake Forest.
So
wide
pretty much a bunch of
receiver
people we
from-
wouldn't know. So I mean
Yeah,
I think
bunch of-
it's a unanimous.
I've never heard of any of these people. Like they had a first round pick. It was the 29th
It's
pick.
it's
They
it's just
picked
a
an offensive
unanimous
tackle
it's a
from Oklahoma.
unanimous decision that it's the Cowboys between the three of us. So on the contrary, I'll go ahead and start as far as who do you think had the best draft. And this personally, this isn't biased, but I genuinely think that the Bears did have the best draft in my opinion. Even though they had, I think, 4 or 5 picks, I think that they I'm gonna speak as like a casual, as like a person who's not a Bears fan. Anyone who's known the NFL for years knows that the Bears have never been good besides that one playoff period that they had, and then they had the Cody Parkey field goal. Roll the clip. And that was a painful experience. But with that being said, they haven't had a good, successful quarterback season, whatever, since that season. And I think it was 2017, so it's been 7 years. And they finally this offseason, Ryan Poles put together a team that can contend. And in the draft, he put together some really good young studs. So I think that personally, the Bears had the best draft class. If I were to pick anyone outside of that, I'd probably say who had some good picks. I'll think about it, but for right now, I think it's probably the Bears. Tyler, who do you have? Tyler, What are we doing here?
You think the Steelers?
I think it's a tie. Honestly, I think it's a tie between the Steelers and I'm looking right now of teams and who they drafted.
Austin, I'll let you go ahead and do yours while Tyler's looking.
Yeah, I'm a look.
I thought this is probably an unpopular opinion. I thought the Colts got a lot of steals in the draft this year.
Considering that they didn't need a QB and they got Michael Pittman, and they also have Jonathan Taylor still. They didn't need a running back. They didn't really need many wide receivers. Though I say they didn't need very many wide receivers, but they went out and got AD Mitchell from Texas, and they went out and got Anthony Gold from Oregon State, who were phenomenal players this year. I watched Oregon State's games, some of Oregon State's games, and some of Texas's games, and they balled out. I'm surprised that AD Mitchell fell as far as he did in the draft. Apparently, it was attitude issues that made him not so.
I'm listening to you. By the way, I'm just looking for my steal.
Okay. Appetizing for many teams. Which, to be honest, who isn't a diva when they come into the league as a rookie? You know what I mean? Like that's stupid. But they drafted a lot of good pieces for their. They drafted a really good linebacker out of Missouri. Drafted a really phenomenal defensive tackle from UCLA who was phenomenal. Latu was really, really good this year. Was probably, in my opinion, the best defensive pick in the first round. They in my opinion, they won the draft. I see the Bears as a close second, but given that the Colts are in a better situation and what they needed to draft, they drafted correctly and did it really, really well. I just think that they're really, really set versus the Bears. They went out and got the main pieces that they were obviously lacking, but they've been poor for the last couple of years. Versus the Colts have been somewhat good, and they did really well last year with not having Anthony Richardson. Gardner Minshew balled out, and almost won the division if they hadn't choked it in the last week of the season. But in my opinion, I think the Colts probably did the best job at the draft than any other team. That or the Eagles, but not the Eagles. The Eagles always draft really well anyway, though.
Yeah, I'm looking. I just finished looking, and I think there's not really anybody that quote unquote won the draft. I think there was just a group of 6 teams that did the best, and I think it's the Eagles, the Colts, the Steelers, the Bears. Oh my God. And it might shock you, but I think the Chiefs were also.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you.
A really big winner because they got Xavier Worthy, I think that's his name.
Yeah. He's fast.
They're getting a Tyreek Hill 2.0. They can do what they did with Tyreek Hill, turn him into, one of the best, if not the best, wide receiver. I wouldn't say he's going to get to Tyreek Hill level, just because we know what Tyreek Hill can do. I just think they can do or repeat what they did with Tyreek Hill with Xavier Worthy. So that's probably who I would have to say outside of my Steelers who won the draft, because my Steelers got what we needed, when we needed, where we needed at the picks that we had. So yeah.
Who do you all think was the steal of the draft? And I know exactly who I'm going to say, but I'll let Austin go first on this one.
No, I'll have Tyler go first. I'm still thinking first.
This was an easy decision. I knew as soon as he was drafted that he was immediately the steal of the draft. And it's going to have to be Brock Bowers for me.
Honestly, no. Sorry.
I think so.
Let him talk, Austin. Let him talk.
Even though they drafted Michael Mayer last year, and he turned out to be some decent tight end. Somewhat. Not he wasn't dog shit.
Dude's buns. Dude is so buns.
he did what he could do with Aiden O'Connell.
The guy who can't.
But yeah, I think he's the steal of the draft because they fell right into his hands. They were going to go and get a quarterback, and that completely got wiped out by the Falcons, and they just fell right into his hands like a Christmas present.
Awesome.
So he kind of reminds me of a little bit of a better Travis Kelce, because only reason is because I think he can block better than Travis Kelce. That man is a unit when it comes to blocking people.
So
I've seen him
I mean,
lay
I
out
agree.
defensive ends.
That's one of the people I have, but that's not mine. That is a good steal. I think that was a good point to take him. I think he fell farther than he should have, but I like that pick.
And
Austin,
I'm still gonna stick with my previous pick when I told you about Rome Odunze. I just think
Get
that
his name right. Dumbass.
I just think that he's them, especially the Falcons, the poor decision they made. He should have gone 8, but he went 9, and I think the Bears were ready to pick him on the clock. And I think that he's going to probably would be my candidate or choice for Offensive Rookie of the Year next year. But that's for another time to talk about and decide. But I stand by that pick that I made a couple weeks ago.
this one, it might be an unpopular opinion, but I genuinely think that this was one of the picks that kind of flew under the radar. People really didn't see it because it was a later round pick. But I think that genuinely this was probably, in my opinion, the steal of the draft. And it was round 3, pick 19 by the Los Angeles Rams, and they took Blake Corum. I think that was
What pick was it?
round 3, pick 19. I genuinely think that was 100% the steal of the draft.
He's a
There
tough
are
one.
there are arguments for other people like Brock Bowers and Rome Odunze. I think those are both good steals. But I feel like if we're going to talk about a quote unquote steal in the draft, you're going to have to try to talk about someone who could go like first, late second, or like first round, early second round, but falls to, late second, third, or fourth. And Blake Corum is exactly that. I mean, he absolutely had a hell of a season, not only this year, but last year. He had an even better season last year than he did this year. And the after Todd Gurley on the Rams, they've had questionable rotations before for running backs. I mean, they've had Cam Akers, they've had who else?
Hey, no, that Kyron Williams is so good, dude. I
He
don't know
is
what you're
good,
talking
but I think that with the skill level of Blake Corum and the talent he puts up, I think that maybe for the first 2 games, Williams will make that spot for starting running back. But I think come time to early season, mid season, I think that Blake Corum's gonna take that over, and that's why I think he's a steal of the draft. It's because I think that people slept on him, didn't see him as high value, and honestly, I don't know why Blake Corum didn't get picked before JJ McCarthy, because I think he's 10 times as better as he is in every sort of way.
Actually, you know who I think got slept on so hard was Kool-Aid McKinstry from
Well,
Alabama.
I'm not done. So I mean that's who I think personally is my steal of the draft, just because he fell to third round and he's easily a late first round, early second round pick. So
Yeah, thank you all for enjoying episode 9. We hope you really enjoyed. Like I always say, hit the like button, subscribe. It's always for free. You can change your mind later. Next episode is going to be about NBA second round. We don't know what specifically yet, but whenever that comes out, you'll all be able to see it. Until next time, see y'all later.
Leave your
Peace.
comments down below. Make it cyan. Make it cyan then. Make it cyan.
no, I don't have cyan.
Is yours is yours only red, green, and
Just make it dark blue.
Tyler's is the same color as mine.
I don't have that color.
Why?
Thank you, Tyler.
I get outnumbered every time.
There we
Panthers fucking
go.
suck.
That's not blue. That's purple.
That looks blue to me.
Can y'all hear me with my mic?
That's-
Hello?
There's literally no
Is your
change.
microphone the one that you're using?
Oh,
Can
that's
you
fine.
hear me?
Okay, Braiden,
Yes.
Braiden. If you look at my lights,
You can hear me.
Yes, it's in your microphone.
yes, I can hear you. This is dark blue.
Oh.
This is literally a different shade of blue. Stupid. Turn off.
Can you hear me from back here?
Yes. It looks like I'm looking at the sun.
And God said, let there be light.
POV, Tyler's me. POV, I'm getting missionary from Tyler.
Oh shit, that's way too bright.
Whoa.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning into episode 9. Today is a very special episode. We have... Wait, what?
I thought you said thank you for watching episode 9. I was like, this is episode 9. I'm like, oh, I'm stupid. Sorry.
Take 2. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for enjoying episode 9. We are here with episode 10. Today is a very special episode.
No.
What?
I wasn't telling you
We're
that you were
cooked.
wrong. I said that I was wrong.
Wait, so I said what you were... I said what you were thinking?
No, you were correct. You were correct. I thought I was right, and then realized, no shit. This is episode 9. I thought you were talking about last episode.
So I did good. I did what I was supposed to do.
I didn't say
So
that
why
you
were
were-
you laughing?
Because I said, I was like, oh my god, no, he did not just say that. I'm like, wait a minute, no, I'm wrong.
Why'd you do it on the take 2?
You did that.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for enjoying episode 9. We are here with episode 10. Is a very
No,
special...
no.
Tyler, we are on episode 9.
No, this is 10. It's not? Oh my god, I swear to God it is.
This is 9.
This is 9. I'm crying.
Oh my god, hold on.
Oh wait, shit. My Brain, your last name.
Alright. Y'all alright. It is episode. Okay.
Again.
Take 4.
Start the whole fucking segment over.
Did you hear it?
Yes.
Oh,
Oh, okay. I can hear that one. Okay, bro, stop. It is air than a box of Cheerio or fucking.
Did you all
Alright,
hear
moving
that?
on.